What's happening? This is the Tap In podcast. We are live inside of the Tap In studio. Man, we got a good show today, boy. We got a good show today. But before we get into that, the hoodies are still available online. So if you go to the website, tapinpodcast.com, grab your hoodie, support the podcast. We appreciate all the love that we're getting out there. We've been talking about this subject on here for a couple of weeks now. And I decided, you know what, let me reach out to somebody, some people who are a part of the community and actually speak on it. And I reached out to a lady now by the name of Ruby Johnson, and she put me in contact with a couple that is of the poly lifestyle, right? Am I saying that correctly?
I think it's more of a love style for me.
A love style? Okay. Okay. Let me introduce my guest, Charita, and her husband. What's your name again, man?
Not husband.
Oh, okay. It's not husband?
No.
Okay. What is it? What is it called?
Where am I?
Partner. We just call it a partner.
Sure.
We'll call it a partner.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. We'll call it a partnership. I like that. That's a better term anyway. How you guys doing, man? How you guys?
Good. How are you?
Good, man.
I'm awesome.
Thank y'all for joining me. Thank y'all for coming on. Now, I want to get deep. So first of all, I want to get the terms correct because it is different terms, correct? For either where there's a man and two women or a women and two men, right?
You're way levels deep.
Really?
Yeah.
Right. So you're talking about specifically like a triad. If we're talking about a man and two women, or women and two men, or three men or three women, and that's just a triad.
Triad.
Now, I think you might be getting to, is there a difference between polyamory, polygamy, that kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
What's the difference?
So polyamory is the ability to have multiple connections, multiple loves. You love multiple people. It isn't necessarily marriage focused.
Okay.
Then you have what most people think of, which is polygamy. And there's two different forms of polygamy. There's polygamy and there's polyandry. And so polyandry is a woman that has multiple husbands, and then polygamy is a man that has multiple wives.
Polygamy is a man that has multiple wives, and what is the other one?
Polyandry.
Polyandry is a guy who has multiple.
A woman.
A woman who has multiple husbands.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
But all that is very limiting to me, especially if you think about what if you have a woman who has multiple wives, or you have a man that has multiple husbands. Those definitions.
That's
don't
the
fit.
thing.
Why would it not be?
I'm just saying. I don't know.
Hey, we LGBTQ plus friendly around here. I'm bisexual and very proud, and it's Bisexuality Visibility Month. So we incorporate everybody.
Yeah, okay. See, I didn't know that was because I thought when you say polygamy, I'm thinking it's just a man and two women or two husbands, or a woman and two husbands.
It's a umbrella term, but underneath that umbrella, you have different
levels.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Now, how did you guys get introduced to the lifestyle? How did you guys first come about this? How did y'all get introduced to this?
Initially, for me, the initial root of it is trying to be ethnically non-monogamous. Society pushes monogamy as this the end all be all, the only way you have to have a relationship. But if you're not a square peg, if you're round,
yeah,
you don't fit into that square peg.
Yeah.
And so you have to kind of figure out what works for you. And when you start to researching, after so many failed relationships and things are not working out the way you want them to, you start to figure out that, hey, maybe I'm not different. Maybe I am different, and whatever this is that society says it isn't for me, and it's not forced upon me. I don't have to do this. And you start to look for different things.
Gotcha.
And you find communities of people who, hey, well, I love like this, I love this way, or this works for me. And, once you start to kind of go into the rabbit hole, it takes off from there.
Oh, okay. And
so I've always been a free spirit. So even in high school, I used to tell people, hey, I'm a free spirit. If you don't want to know, don't ask me. Because I just didn't think that I had to limit myself. You have two parents, you love two parents. You have multiple siblings, you love multiple siblings. You can have multiple best friends, no one bats an eye. All of a sudden, I like a couple different people, and it's a whole problem. And so I always was a free spirit. I think college, I started in high school, and probably like college or so, I actually kind of tapped into the world of swinging. and was like, yeah, that's cool, but want something a little bit more. And then eventually found polyamory and was like, oh, that's me. I didn't know that was a thing, or I thought it was only for white people. Yeah. And I found out it's for us too.
Okay, all right. Is there interracial poly relationships?
Absolutely.
There is?
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, it's like nothing. It's just like a regular thing.
Just like any other interracial relationship.
No, because I know I would be, because I know if I see a white woman and she got 2 black husbands, I would feel some kind of way about that. You know what I mean?
Why?
Just, I don't know if it's my ancestry background, but I would feel some kind of way about it. You know what I mean?
Her having 1 black husband, the fact that she has 2 makes you feel more kind of a way.
Yes, it does. It does. I don't know. That would feel. I would definitely feel some kind of way about that.
So what about the reverse? What if it was a white man with 2, or a black man with 2 white wives?
Get your money, man. Get your Get your money, man. Get it.
We need to take some time to figure out what polyamory means to you. Like what you think it is.
No, I mean, so the only, I guess my view of it is very limited. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the only thing I see is what I see from either online or in social media or whatever, is either a man with 2 women or a woman with 2 husbands. That's the limit of it. I don't know like the whole umbrellas. Mm-hmm. And then I talked to some of my friends about, like, I know polyamory is that, I hope I'm saying that right. Polyamory is a big in like African culture, or you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's big over there where you have African kings that have multiple wives. And I was like, why can't they do that here? Or why is that frowned upon in America?
So I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Do you see, you mentioned, okay, a man having multiple wives, and why can't we do that here? Are you okay with a woman having multiple husbands?
I am, just not my wife.
And why come not your wife? So you?
I mean, no. See, I guess I'm still operating with my ego. You know what I mean? I'm still operating my ego. So, and for me to just be in a relationship with a woman, I feel like that's real intimate. You know what I mean? That bond that you share is just real intimate, and to share that with a third person, to me, it would just make me feel weird.
So could you share it with a third person, but she could not?
I think it still would be weird, but I would accept that.
You would.
It still would be weird, but I would accept it.
So we have a term.
Okay.
We have a term called OPP. Oh. And generally speaking, it means 1 penis policy. Every once in a while, it can mean 1 pussy policy. Oh, can I talk like that on your show?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Please do.
So what this is an individual, normally a male, who feels like, oh, I'm an alpha male, I'm the king, I'm whatever, and I can have multiple women, but my women cannot mess with any other men. They can only interact with other women. I call those insecure individuals, because I understand what kind of self-work you need to go through. I can have multiple partners, multiple loves, and I'm not concerned about what you have going with somebody else. I don't feel like that's going to take away from me. I don't feel like there's something that she or he is doing that's going to affect our relationship and make you look differently with me. What we have together is what we have. And so if you have such an insecurity in yourself that it's like, oh, I got to be this big man and I don't want her sleeping with nobody else because maybe the dick is going to be better, or maybe whatever. That's some self-work. There's counselors for that. You mentioned Ruby. She's a counselor.
Yeah.
She can help individuals through that.
Go ahead.
We try not to be so judgmental on other people's lifestyles, because we don't get to pick and choose what works for us and may not work for other people. Mm-hmm. So where she may feel a way about that, if that's your chosen lifestyle, then fine, run with it. If you can find that and you can find people who will agree with you to go in with that, do your thing.
Yeah.
The open ideal is that whatever works for you and your love style, if you can find it, if you're not hurting anybody, go for it. But there is a lot of I don't know what the word is, where people pick and choose what they like and what they don't like. And what might not work for her could work for you and yours if that if that's for you.
Yeah.
She may not like it, but she doesn't have to because that's your lifestyle.
Yeah.
But what I would have to say with that is I have a problem with a policy. I don't care whose lifestyle it is. I'm okay with everyone in agreement. So if you and your wife decide, hey, we just want to entertain other women and we want to create this tribe and I'm the only male, that's fine because it's people who agree. If you come in with a policy and you dictate other individuals, that's a problem to me, period.
Okay.
So even when you have relationships, you have rules, you have boundaries, and you have an agreements. Rules to me are for children. So as my partner, we can make agreements with each other and I can have personal boundaries for me, but I can't input a rule on you. And so I have a problem with the one penis policy or one pussy policy because I have an issue with a policy someone puts on anybody else.
Got you. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So, is there a situation where, well, yeah, because I guess I'm only operating from my thought, and when you saying that, it makes me open up a little bit, but at the same time, I want to understand, like, if two people decide they're in a relationship, like, who decides, or do both of them decide that they're going to bring in a third party? Like, what is, because that process right there is what makes me like, I don't know.
You have to have a broader view.
Okay.
You're saying us bringing in somebody else.
Right.
It could be her saying, hey, I'm dating so-and-so, or so-and-so is taking me out. I have nothing to do with that. If she goes out on a date and she starts to date somebody else, that's not somebody who's coming in to our relationship. That's her having a separate relationship that doesn't include me. That's also poly. Now, the 3 triad thing is a focus, but that's not the majority of relationships you come across. The majority of relationships that me and her are dating, we have a relationship, but I'm also dating person C, she's dating her person, and when we're not together, we may see other people.
So how does that work if y'all, like let's say you, right? If you want to hang out with her, but she has another date or she's going to see somebody else, how would that?
We reschedule.
I'm busy. That's why you need a calendar. Time Tree is wonderful. You put on there what you got going on.
That's a free plug. Don't do free plugs.
So, like, you wouldn't have a problem with, like, rescheduling if you, like, you set up something for her and you want to hang out with her, you did a special day, but she has...
If there's a problem, something we talk about, but we still have to talk about it, is something that comes up where, hey, I want to do this. Well, I got plans to do this, and maybe we can figure something out, on the back end or the next day, or everything's a negotiation because, I don't rule her, she doesn't rule me, but we work together to figure out what works best.
That face.
Stay on topic.
What happened?
Okay, I'm not on the thing. Talk about the ruling again.
What happened?
Nothing. So, what I was going to say was, you had said rescheduling. And so I just wanted to clarify. So are you saying if he already had something scheduled with me and then I had something with someone else, or I already had something with someone else and then he asked me out?
Right.
Okay.
The second one.
Okay. So that's not a reschedule because we hadn't confirmed time yet. So it's not like I'm canceling on him.
So, okay. Because I guess I'm operating in the spot where I feel like y'all are exclusive to each other, right? And then if you want to go out and do something, if he wants to go out and do something, then you guys talk about it where it's like, hey, I'm going over here, I'm going over there. Is that not what it is?
I think you are referencing individuals who have a hierarchy. So maybe
hierarchy. What you mean?
So let's say you and your wife, right? Y'all are married. You have a pre-established relationship, and you all decide we have a hierarchy, as in the relationship always comes first, the marriage always comes first, and our plans and everything always come first, and then everything in addition to that is a nicety or an addition, and we negotiate and discuss that. So I think that's where you're coming from, is more of a hierarchy.
Yeah, I guess.
So there's different types. There's different kind of.
This is blowing my mind. I don't even understand because I guess the way I've been operating in the relationship spot, in the relationship space with the opposite sex is it's always been, hey, it's us two, and then we decide, hey, I'm going over here, I'm doing this, I'm doing, you know what I mean? That's the way just my mind from me just dating, you know what I mean, the opposite sex, that's just the way I operated, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So for you guys to just be like, oh yeah, I'm just over here, she just over there, to me, that's just it's just foreign to me. You know what I mean?
And it also depends on what agreements and negotiations you have with your partner. So let's say you have multiple partners. Say you have 3.
Okay.
And let's say with the wife, you'll have an agreement that you all discuss everything beforehand, right? So she knows where you're going, who you're with, if there's someone you're entertaining. Maybe you have another partner who doesn't really care about your other situations. They just want to know for health purposes if you have sex with someone else. And maybe if someone else who's not concerned with anything, I just want to know if you get in a relationship with someone else, because now if you have a relationship with someone else, that's someone I know is going to interfere with my time, and I want to be able to account for that. So you may have some people who I operate in information, tell me everything, right? But you may have some people who don't want to know. They're not concerned with the day-to-day. They're not concerned. They just want to know the things that they feel like affect them directly. So you may not be in a place where you need to share everything with everyone.
Got you.
I can see the wheels.
It is. It is. Go what? What?
How does that look under one roof? Like, are y'all living together? How does the relationship look when you're living together, or if you have kids?
So the question is, how does that look when you got under one roof? Are the relationships where you guys living together, or everybody living separate?
So I've had both. I've had a partner that I lived with, and then also had partners at the same time outside of the house. For me, if I live with someone, they probably need a little more information because we have scheduling. We've got kids, right? So, hey, I have this date planned on such and such day, but I need to make sure you're going to be here. So what days are you going to be out with your partner? What days do do the kids have football? Is there, a class meeting? Who's covering that? We all going, that kind of thing. So I think for me personally, if I live with someone, they've got to have more information because they have more access to my life. And we have more entanglements at the house and that we need to be concerned about. So they probably get a little more information.
Okay. Same thing with you?
No, I hadn't. So as you go into this thing, people label themselves all kind of things, whatever works for them. My label would be solo poly.
Solo poly?
Right. So I don't want a nesting partner. I don't want someone who is going to live with me. I'm not on a plan to where I'm on the escalator on a relationship where we're going to date, we're going to be girlfriend and boyfriend, we're going to get engaged, we're going to get married. That's not something that I'm right now looking for. And so that's part of my conversation. Hey, if you're dating me, just know I'm not going to be your husband, in most circumstances. That's not what I'm looking for.
Okay.
So I go home.
Okay.
I go home and you go home.
Okay.
Have you had a long-term relationships, but they just know?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're probably, most solo poly people date other solo poly people. So we're not looking for, a marriage. It can be very long-term. I can have a very long-term relationship and not grow somewhere where we're going to own property together.
So what's interesting is I don't consider myself solo poly. Most of my partners are solo poly. That's kind of been, if I look at the last 4, yeah, they're all solo poly.
So let me ask you this. Instead of putting, I guess, titles on it, can it just be like, yeah, I'm just dating multiple people?
Yeah.
Instead of just having that solo poly title on yourself?
So, but what works for the title is people got a understanding of how you operate.
Okay.
That kind of term kind of answers questions about who they're dealing with if they're dealing with you.
Gotcha.
If you say, hey, I'm straight, I'm bi, people know what that is.
Gotcha.
So solo
Okay.
poly is like, hey, this is kind of the umbrella of what you're going to deal with me.
Okay.
So yeah, I can just say, hey, I just date around, but it gives more context.
Got you. Okay. And you don't ever want to get married at all?
I'm not saying ever, but right now where I'm at,
Okay.
with the way my lifestyle, I have a young daughter that I'm raising, and I got a job that takes all of my time. I don't see myself being able to afford that type of growth and that time and effort invested. And I've been single. I've been living this lifestyle of not even knowing what I was, not having a name for it.
Yeah.
Since I got divorced.
Oh, okay.
Many years ago. So.
Okay. And what about you, though, Charita? You don't want to get married?
So I've been there, and I don't know. I'm not against it.
Okay.
I'm not just out here like, oh, I want to get married either.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was asked that recently.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know.
You been proposed to before?
Oh, a lot of times.
Really? And you said yes or you said no?
I said no 3 times, and I said yes twice, and I changed my mind on one of them.
Really? God damn. Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
when they propose to you, do they expect you to get away from your poly lifestyle?
So the question is, the people that propose to you, do they expect you to leave your poly lifestyle?
I sometimes feel that way. So
these people that proposed to you, they weren't in the poly community, or they wasn't a part of that?
So this has been over my lifetime. But again, I've been a free spirit. So
Yeah.
I've always been ethically non-monogamous. Now, if you want to know, I'm going to tell you. If you don't want to know, don't ask me, because I'm not going to be able to lie to you. I don't function that way. Because I'm going to forget the lie I told you, and I just don't want to get myself caught up. And so I feel like I've met people who have met me in my free-spirited life, who've even met me in the swinging community, but then, wanted me to cut all that off just for them. And I'm like, but this is why you like me. This is how you met me. You like how open I am. You like my freeness. You want me to cut that off? That doesn't work for me. I am who I am. And I'm kind of dope. So,
Now, what's the difference between the swinging community and the poly community? Is there a difference?
Oh, absolutely.
Are they kind of...
Oh, huge. So swinging is very sexually focused. So it's more of a no strings attached situation. We can meet up. We can have sex. That's it. That's all we're doing. Polyamory is relationship. It's connections. It's bonds. It's love.
But just with everybody.
It don't have to be with everybody. I mean, so being polyamorous is I'm open to that.
Oh, okay.
I may be with Andre for like 150 million years and never be with anybody else. That's probably like not going to happen. I'm just saying it's possible. And I could still be polyamorous.
I feel like, and tell me if I'm off base, I feel like the poly umbrella just allow you to go do whatever the fuck you want.
If that's what you want to do, if that's what your truth is, if that's the truth of hey, this is what I want to experience in life, that's an umbrella for you to do it. But if I just say, hey, I have the capability of loving her and also loving someone else, it doesn't have to be a million people. It doesn't have to be a million sexual connections. I can have a loving relationship with somebody who is long distance. And I have a friend in Denver who I have a long distance relationship with. I haven't seen her in 3 years. We talk every day. We have video chats. We have video dates. It's a non-sexual relationship because I haven't seen her in 3 years, but she's an important part of my life. And it's a connection that I have. It's a connection that I share with her, and I value that. I put time and effort into it. I want to grow it. But it's not something that may ever turn sexual. It may not ever turn into us living together. And it's not a free-for-all. It's just that I connect with people in different ways, and I want to grow all those connections. And me loving her will not stop me loving and growing the connection over her as well.
Got you.
Let's say you go out somewhere, you're at a bar, you're at an event, whatever, and you meet someone. You're in a monogamous relationship with your spouse or partner or whatever. And you're talking to somebody else, you're having a good time, and at the end of the night, you want to exchange phone numbers. And then you exchange numbers and you are texting, getting to know each other. In a monogamous situation, that's going to be considered cheating. Someone's going to feel a whole way about it.
Yeah.
And it's not even that you are trying to make that new connection sexual or romantic relationship, but you are exploring what that connection can be. I have met people on Tinder that have turned into a business connection. I have met people that I meet and it becomes purely platonic. I've met people and it just becomes sexual. That's it, right? But I have the opportunity and space to let that connection grow and organically form the way it's supposed to. But if I'm in a monogamous situation and I'm out and I see you and I'm like, oh, he's cool and we have a good time. I'm like, oh, hey, hit me up. Here's my information. And then maybe your wife sees us texting. She may feel away. And then maybe you felt like you needed to hide that from her because you didn't know if she was going to feel away. And it really could have just been a business connection at some point. It could have been, oh, I got a homegirl you might like. Like, you never know what it can turn into. But I feel like monogamy puts constraints on you and you don't have the ability to grow organic connections. A lot of heterosexual relationships, right? Someone may feel away if their partner has friends of the opposite sex. Well, I'm bisexual, so what you gonna do? I can't have friends, like no friends with anybody. It's not gonna work. So I don't like the restrictions.
Okay, so the poly just takes the restrictions off of the traditional like relationships.
I mean, it does, but it's also your ability. You have more than one friend?
Yeah.
Okay, if both those friends called you and you did something, would you come through for them?
I would try to.
You would try to, right?
Yeah.
So you have a connection. You like those friends.
Yeah.
Why is it that same situation can't be placed on someone you may have romantic interest in? Why is it that, okay, I like you and love you, but I can't like and love someone else? Love is supposed to grow and multiply. Why do you have to restrict it in this one area?
Because I think that in relationships, it's more emotions and feelings attached to it versus me and my homeboys. You know what I'm saying?
You have children?
Yeah.
You have more than one?
Yep.
So you had your first child. Did you think, I can't have a second one because I'm going to love the first one less?
No.
Do you love, and if you do, I'm sorry, do you love one kid more than the other?
Ooh, you on the spot now.
Yeah.
You thought this was your show, huh? I got questions.
Okay, I see what you're saying. But, yeah, I guess I'm operating just from...
What you were told?
Or just what I've seen. Yeah.
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 And it's not for everybody. We're not saying, hey, you have to do this way. But if it doesn't work for you to just love one person and you and that person work out forever, there's other things. And I don't think people are, entertaining that thought process. They are trying to constrict themselves to what they've always been told and what they've always seen. And if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you.
Yeah. Yeah. What you about to say, Jay?
What type of self-work do you feel like either one of you had to do in order to not be jealous? Or is it something that you were born with, like a free spirit? Like what type of self-work?
Jealousy in the polyamory. Well, I be fucking that word up.
It's okay. So jealousy is a normal human emotion. You can feel all your emotions. I get jealous. What jealousy does for me in a polyamorous situation is make me do some reflection. Why am I jealous? What's going on? And hopefully foster some really good conversation. If you don't have good communication with someone, that's an issue period in life, not just in this one relationship or, in polyamory. Communication is key. And I should be able to come to anyone, friend, my mama, anybody, and say, hey, this happened. I feel a way. Can we talk that out? Right? So jealousy is going to happen. It is okay.
Mono, poly, you still get jealous. You still feel angry. You still need to have a talk. You still.
So how do you come down from that? Or what is that conversation with yourself to I guess to wring that back?
I mean, first is just to acknowledge it. I mean, that you feel the way. A lot of times you may see something or something may catch your eye or something may make not feel right in your spirit.
Yeah.
And you have to recognize what that is. You have to do a lot of conversations with yourself about what you're feeling and why you're feeling it. And a lot of times it may not even be something I address with her. If I'm feeling a way that, I'm feeling insecure in this area because she's going out or, having too much fun. That's a me issue. That's not a her issue. But if I can't resolve it within myself, then I can bring it to her. Like, hey, look, I'm feeling the way. Mm-hmm. I'm feeling you doing this. And, in a lot of times the conversation of her explaining or us discussing it resolves it. Because once I can talk to her about it, it kind of takes it off my chest as far as something I'm dealing with by myself or something that I'm feeding into and it's growing. And the more I'm cycling, I'm adding to this anthill. By the time, if I don't address it with her, it's going to be a mountain.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, well, this is what happened. And it was the worst date ever. And he stepped on my toe. His breath was stinking.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
And
you start feeling a little better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Or even if it was the best date ever, us having a discussion about it. And she said, hey, yeah, whatever that is, I still got you. You still my boo. And we still going to kick it. And don't worry about that getting interfering with us. I'm still going to feel better. So the communication part is really important because without it, stuff that you see that there's nothing becomes something within yourself. Yeah. And so communication is really fundamental.
I think that's from the little time we've been talking, I think that's the biggest takeaway in the poly world or the lifestyle or the love style is the communication has to be like extra because, or I don't even want to say extra. I think in traditional relationships, the communication is not always in the forefront or not really talked about. Most people, men and women, kind of just push those emotions or feelings down and they don't know how to express themselves. But from what you guys are telling me, it's a lot of communication, between both parties. So that's the positive I would take away.
But the biggest part of it is she has to know who she is and I have to know who I am. And we have to have honest communication that I think you won't have in a mono relationship. she can say, hey, that girl got a fat ass.
Yeah.
And I can be like, yeah, she got a fat ass. So she can say, that dude is fine. And I can be like, okay, I see what you see. You know,
Yeah.
I see what you like. But you may not have those conversations in the mono world. You may not be able to say, hey, you know, I really like whatever this is, because your partner may feel uncomfortable if that's not her. You know, if you got to have really deep down, honest communication with each other if it's going to work. A lot of people try it and they're not, you know, secure or know who they are within themselves or be able to express themselves with somebody else. It's not going to work. Yeah. Because you have to be able to tell, hey, I'm going out on a date with so-and-so, and, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And or I like this. I may not be on the path to being married, but I can at least tell you so you know what you're getting into. You have some really deep, honest, you know, who I really am at the core conversations with yourself and with other people who you're dating. And you really have to be able to express that and have those communications. If not, you know, if we think we have an agreement that I'm not going to do A, B, C, and D, and I'm out there doing it because I don't think it's going to be a problem, that's you run into all kind of issues.
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you, and maybe you guys could or maybe you guys already answered it. Did you guys get in? I know you say you were free spirited, right? But did you guys get into the poly lifestyle because you guys were in a traditional relationship and it just didn't work? And then you guys was like, you know what, like that just doesn't work for me, or that doesn't feel right for me. So let me just go out here and explore and try something different.
She didn't
was
come
I
from
ever?
that.
I was trying to think. Was I really in a traditional relationship? I was. No, I think I've always been a free spirit. So even when I was probably in a relationship that kind of looked monogamous, it would be monogamous, and so I was like, yeah, but I'm gonna go do this a little bit and I'm gonna come back. So again, I was still ethically non-monogamous. And then I think it was just kind of the discovery of polyamory, being like, oh, that's what it is. When I told my mother, so I don't have like a coming out of anything, right? My sexuality, polyamory, whatever. But when I was having the conversation with my mom and I said, oh, hey, you know I'm polyamorous, right? And she's like, what is that? And when I told her, she goes, oh, that's you completely. Like, I never knew what you were, but that's it, you know? So just like my family, when I gave them the definition, was like, oh, yeah, I could see that. I couldn't see you being any other way. So I don't know if I was ever really, like, in a traditional monogamous relationship. It probably looked monogamous to people who weren't in my business, but.
Have you ever been in a same-sex relationship?
A lot. I like women.
Really? Okay.
I'm for real bi.
Okay. I mean, under the poly umbrella, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. All right. How about you? You ever been with the same sex?
No.
No? Okay.
I'm straight.
Okay.
But he is the best ally in life.
What you mean? What you mean?
Like, he's supportive of the LGBTQ community. He'll walk the pride parade with me and my company. And so he's a great ally.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. You about to say something, Jazz?
No, just saying what ally was.
Oh, okay. God, I was like, ally to what? I was like, he's a great ally to what?
He is supportive. I don't do well with people who are okay with women being with women but have a problem with trans or non-binary or men being with men. I don't do well with hypocrites who will say stuff like there's a such thing as a bisexual woman, but if a man is with a man, he's got to be gay versus there being a bisexual man. I hate all of that. And so he is not that way. And I've just seen him, because I'll get really, like, worked up. Like, and he'll be like, hey, calm down. Yeah. And then he'll go, like, explain it. And then they'll hear it differently and not in such a high-pitched voice, like when I'm mad. Yeah. And then people receive the information better. So.
Okay. Yeah. All right, let's take a quick little break. Have you guys ever tried this? This is Killer Mike's soda. He got a Crip Cola and the blood pop. You guys ever tried this?
No.
I'm
looking forward to it.
Okay. I haven't, but I'm going to have to get the blood pop.
Okay. Oh, no, we're going to taste both. I want y'all to taste both. So I ordered this online. There goes your 2 cups.
Oh.
And your 2 cups.
Thank you.
Here go mine. I want y'all honest opinion about what it is, about what it tastes like, okay?
I mean, it's a black business. It takes
Yeah. Shout out to Killer Mike, man.
Shout out to Killer Mike.
Shout out to Killer Mike. When I seen this on Trigger Warning, I was like, yo, that's a dope idea. I was like, you know what? That's dope. Let give you a little bit. Give you a little bit. Is that enough?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, where am I at? Okay. So let's all.
This is
the blood pop. This
Okay.
is the blood pop. Okay. So let's see. Let's see what this tastes like.
Oh, I like it.
So whoop.
That's
it.
You're
That's
gonna have
good.
it rolling up to the
That's
station.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It is.
Yeah.
That cherry flavor.
It's. I don't know. It's like
It's sweet though. I like it.
Yeah. It's like a. I don't know what is that.
Not
like an orange.
sarsaparilla.
Yeah. Okay.
I like it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like the blood pop.
Okay. All right, Killer Mike. I see you. All right, now let's try the Crip Cola.
Cripicola.
Yeah. Taste this one. Tell me what's this one. I'm gonna tell y'all, I tasted it. So I just want to see what y'all taste. This is,
Okay. So it's not bad, but it's not as good as the blood pop, and I feel like it has a little bit of aftertaste, kind of like a grape soda would.
yeah.
It is kind of grape soda.
Yeah.
Like
But it's also not cold, so I
Yes.
can think it being a little crisper and but I like it.
That's interesting. I thought it was gonna taste like a Coca-Cola. You know what I mean? Like that's what I thought.
I don't know why I thought it was gonna have like a blueberry
Blueberry.
flavor. I think it's gonna be blueberry.
That's what I was thinking. I was expecting, but grape makes sense.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Shout out to Killer Mike. We need some sponsorship, Killer Mike.
Killer.
Get us some sponsorship. Send us some packages, some bottles, man. Goodness gracious. That was. You know what? When I tasted it at my house, I liked the Crip Cola at the house. It was like a little like citrusy, like a little. You know how when you drink Pepsi or something, they give you that little tingle.
You can feel the fuzz.
Yeah, it gave me that, and I was like, "That's pretty good though." But the blood pop is.
Blood pop. Is
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna have to get some now.
Yeah. Okay. Shout out to Killer Mike, man. All right, so I want to on the where is like if people wanted to, I guess, become a part of that community or let me say that community, the poly community, where do they find people? Is it like because what I imagine the poly community is kind of like the LGBTQ, where it's like, okay, we're over here, the rest of you guys are stay over there. You know what I'm saying?
Not at all.
That's how I see it. That's how I see the poly community,
First
where it's
of
like
all-
it's a whole underground kind of thing. It's like
No.
First
not-
of all, the LGBTQ community is not like that either. We are accepting and we love everyone.
I don't know. Some of y'all be. Some of y'all
Some of
be.
us would.
Bruh,
Some of us would.
Okay.
save yourself.
Some of us would.
Save yourself.
Okay.
So, people are underground about stuff that they're ashamed of. I'm not. People hide things that they're ashamed of. I don't. And so, people who are polyamorous are everywhere. If you happen to run across me on Tinder and Bumble, it says I'm poly on there. I just let it be known. I had a period of time, though, I only dated monogamous people, and it wasn't on purpose. I just kept meeting them. And so, you can be in a mono-poly relationship. You can meet people. I met somebody at like a daiquiri lounge type place, and they were mono, but I told them since they met me, I'm poly. So I just let you know. You can meet people at Walmart. Doesn't matter.
Okay. So it's not like a community like where you find people like that.
There is.
There is?
Yeah.
as well. Since you ran.
So, Black and Poly is a national nonprofit organization, and I host the quarterly meetups we have here in Dallas.
Okay.
COVID has had me sit down though for this year.
Yeah.
So we have that. I mean, Poly Dallas Millennium is coming up. So Ruby is the founder of Poly Dallas Millennium, and so we're doing a virtual conference that's November 6th through the 8th. So that's
Yeah.
online.
Tell yes, because that's what I wanted to do. What happens at the conference, or what goes on, and how can people get like if they want to actually join? How do they do that?
So the conference is awesome. So I've been to the conference in person, and so the one online is going to be amazing as well, because you've got entertainment, you've got an educational track, so you can learn individuals who are like counselors and therapists need their continuing education hours. There's a track for that. There'll be classes about discovering yourself in polyamory, classes about race and polyamory, because you mentioned interracial situations. So it's an online platform, and you can sit there. You can interact with the speakers. There'll be some keynote speakers. So it's fun and it's real engaging. It's gonna be very interactive, but it's also very educational.
Okay.
So Poly Dallas Millennium is on Instagram. They're on Facebook. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Black and Poly is a Facebook group.
Yes, Black and Poly is a Facebook group as well.
Black and Poly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Do you guys have any like I want to get down to the T, like some horror stories, like some poly horror stories? Because I know with any relationship is some drama. You know what I mean?
Who all can listen to this podcast?
You ain't gotta say no names.
People know who I'm talking about. What kind of horror stories? Like what you?
I mean, just like some, because I know like with like you said, you dated some mono people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they may not be accepting, especially the guy who proposed to you, or the lady who proposed to you that wanted you to lead that lifestyle. And I'm sure she wasn't, or he wasn't just accepting of you. Like, nah, I'm good.
So there's a guy I met. So I'm doing better, but I'm a bit of an NRE junkie, which is new relationship energy, right? When you first meet somebody.
I thought you talking about the gun people. Oh, that's the NRA.
No.
That's the NRA. Okay.
Just the high you get off, somebody new, you're getting to know each other, and just like that intense connection. I just love intense connections.
Mm-hmm.
So I met this guy. It was hella fine. He was real dope, but he was very mono. And so when I, was like, hey, I'm poly, I have a husband. He was cool, but then he was like, well, I can tell him I fall in love with you. And so when that happens, we're going to need to remove your husband from the picture. And I was like, I don't really understand what that means. Like, what you mean by remove him? He's like, well, there's no need for him. And I was like, no, there's a need. Like, we're married, And so I tried to look past that because he was so cool, but I couldn't. So I had to stop talking to him. And he was just a little crazy. Like, he would call, like, pop up some places I was at. And
that's never good.
No, I don't like pop-ups.
And I was talking to one of my homeboys about this. I was like, because I guess my view at that time was so limited. I was like, I think polygamy could actually save the black community. Because what I meant by that was financially, right? If you have more working adults under one household, then you guys will be able to pull all your money together easily or better to actually be able to do more with your finances.
But you could do that with roommates.
Yeah, but I don't want no roommates because I got kids and you know what I mean? Like, I had roommates when I was 20. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm an adult now, but I want to be in a, I guess I would call it like a community relationship. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like where everybody's under one household, and if there's kids involved, all the kids are getting loved by all the adults, and it's not kids feeling like left out or, you know what I mean? I was like, this could probably be a situation where we kind of pull our finances together. And why are you looking like that?
Are you the center of this? Are you are the husband with your concubines?
Yes. Yes. I haven't thought about it the other way. My mind is not prepared to go there yet. It's not. So yes, that's what I was thinking.
So that's why I said you can do that with roommates, right? So I try to separate. My money is my money. And I don't really play about my money. Now there are certain people I share, who have access to certain things, or we have different discussions. We talk about businesses together. I don't do that with everyone. So my love and money don't go together. So I can have people I'm dating that I have a great time with, that I love and view as life partners, but that doesn't mean I'm talking about growing financially with you. That doesn't mean you know where I bank at. That doesn't mean that you know what my tax return looks like. Like, I don't have that with everyone. And so it doesn't have to. I see that a lot with a lot of people, especially who are new to poly. They'll say stuff like, oh, if you're not building or growing or, doing businesses together, why are you polyamorous? They don't have to go together. Polyamory does not mean lots of money. Polyamory literally means multiple loves. So my love is not tied to finances. I could be homeless and love somebody. I could not have a job and love somebody. So the two don't have to go together.
I feel like that's just counterintuitive, though. If you
Did you marry your spouse for money?
No.
So why would you then now want to have multiple people for money?
No, it's not for money, but I'm saying if we love each other, right? Mm-hmm. And we pull our money together, now we got 2 nickels versus just one. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm thinking, because now that we are married, it's like, okay, financially, let's put our money together. Let's do something that we can leave for our kids, that financially we'll be in a better space.
Yeah. I think it's a great thing. I just think it's a requirement. But I think it's great to do it. I think it also can
But
be
you're
multiple.
saying it could be, you could just have business partners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could just have a business partner. I could just have a partner. I could just have a love. Or you could be all 3 of those. You could be 1 or 2 of those. It just doesn't have to be all inclusive.
Oh, okay.
And it could be different sexes. It doesn't have to be just men or
No,
just women.
I'm past that now. You got me. I'm
okay.
open to. I understand that now. I understand that now. Okay. Y'all got any questions?
Yes. So when there's kids involved, just say you and one of your mates, you become pregnant, you have a child by one mate. Do you introduce them to the rest of your whoever else you're dating, or how does that look?
Were there kids involved? That's a good question.
It's probably a great question for me.
Yeah.
Got a lot of kids. Because I'm also a foster adoptive parent, right? So I have a lot of kiddos. Everyone does not get access to that part of my life, but there are some who do. So Andre connected with one of my kiddos 2 years ago, and he mentors him. They'll hang out, they spend time together. They are very, very close. Whereas he knows the other kid. Oh, and then of course a little bit she loves him a lot, but all the kids know him. All the kids, they seen him. Where he at? What's going on? Like, they know him, but he has a special relationship with one of them he's really connected with, that they do things together. So everyone does not get access to all the kids. Some do. Some
You decide
never.
who does and who doesn't? Or
Yeah, they mine.
No, I'm just saying, because like I know like, especially like with new relationships, right? The kids always want to give the adult a title, like uncle this and cousin that, and
we don't do that.
y'all don't.
Oh, this is Mr. Andre.
Oh, then that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it sounds like there's really deep friendships, because when I think of a relationship, I'm going to share and be open with a lot in everything, and there's no limits. Like, so on one hand, I hear you say, hey, what I do is there's no limit, there's no policy. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, I hear that there are boundaries. Like, I'm not gonna let you into my life like this, but you can be into my life when it's us two, or when we have a sexual relationship, or just a friendship where we can go out and kick it.
Exactly, you have it.
That's
So,
it.
but that's not a less than relationship.
No, not at all.
It's just a different relationship. So yeah, what you're saying is true. You may have people who do get more access to you. You may meet my daughter. You may establish a relationship with her. If I see you being around long term, or we have that type of relationship. But if we're just sexual, or we just see each other every once in a while, or we're not planning on having a serious deep, long, lifetime relationship, you may not get that type of access. But that's not a short on you as a person, or a short on the relationship as it's configured. It's just that relationship is in that lane. And just like some of your friends are closer to you. You have some best friends, you have some associates. It's kind of the same thing with romantic or love, or is all in the same vein.
Okay.
So I would say I have friends and I have partners. My partners, I don't want to limit them to say they're just a friendship. So even if I was monogamous for whatever reason, everyone I dated wouldn't meet my children or my family or have access to my finances. So whereas I may not have escalated relationships, time invested in me seeing you as someone who's long term, is going to be in my life forever, no matter what that looks like, will give you access to certain parts of my life. My youngest is 7. Everyone else is a teenager or older. My youngest, being 7, doesn't understand when people are going to come in and out of her life. And so I'm not going to run through every single partner I have, and now their cousin, uncle, whoever. And it's like, oh, what happened to cousin so-and-so, uncle so? I don't do that. And so even if I was monogamous, that wouldn't be a thing. And so, yes, there's certain parts of my life you're gonna get as you. It's like when you play a video game and like you unlock the next level, right? Like that kind of thing. And the more invested we are in each other, the more open I am. So I have personal boundaries, but I have those same personal boundaries with my homegirl. Like if I meet you at the mall and we cool, we exchange information, you're not coming to my house tomorrow and having dinner with me and my children. So even as a friend of mine, we would have to get to a certain level before I expose you to my children, or actually expose my kids to you. I don't know you.
So, damn, I had a question. I just forgot it while you were saying. Does it? Yeah, that's tricky. I mean, because I mean, I don't introduce. Yeah, I didn't introduce before I was married my kids to nobody.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just didn't. Wow. Okay. Yes. Oh man, this is eye opening, man. This is really good and educational too at the same time, because I was thinking such a limited is 3 people, 4 people in a relationship. You know what I mean, men or women, and you guys live under one roof, and bam, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so much, so many other levels. Okay.
So many different ways to, love and be loved, and it's not one thing fits all.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Yeah. Okay. And I think let me ask you guys both individually, what do you think that people who are in monogamous relationships that they can take from the poly community? Like, what are some attributes or some things that makes you guys' lifestyle really work that you guys can see that could be implemented into that mono relationships?
Okay.
I think in monogamous relationships, there's a sense of ownership. People feel like they own their partner, and they feel like they're entitled. So since I'm with you, like you're mine, and I'm entitled to all your time, I'm entitled to know who you're talking to, I'm entitled. Versus looking at it as a gift. So Charita owns Charita. Charita owns Charita's time. What I decide to share with you is a gift I'm giving you. I get to choose who gets my time. Sometimes I'm keeping my damn time to myself, leave me alone. Other times I'm gifting that to someone else. And so I think one of the biggest things is to remember that you're receiving a gift. No one has to do this. I don't have to be with you. I don't have to give you information. I don't have to, do anything, but I'm choosing to and looking at it as a gift.
Okay. Andre, your turn. Follow that.
Right.
Follow that.
Follow that.
You should have went first.
The one big takeaway is that it may sound glamorous. It may sound, it's work. As much work as you put into a monogamous relationship, as much work you put into as your wife, take that in time to about however many people you're dealing with. And it's that.
Yeah.
It's not it's wonderful. It is. It's great, but it's work.
Yeah.
Because you have to know yourself. You have to be able to communicate yourself. And you have to be able to hear somebody else explain who they are and hear it for what it is. She can say, hey, I'm bi. And I'm like, that's for me.
Yeah.
And it don't include me at all. One bit.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to be yourself, be comfortable with yourself, and you have to be able to communicate. So if anything from poly to mono is the ability to communicate who you are, where you are, and the flexibility to go back into your partner and say, hey, I was this, and now I'm this. Something, people grow and change, and even in poly, you grow and change. I may be solo poly today, and we may get married tomorrow and be together for the rest of our lives. It's just, I have to know where I'm at and be able to communicate that. And I think that's one thing that when you hear my mono friends I'm like, dog, why don't you just say what you want? Tell your truth, speak the truth. And you're not in the place to where a lot of them, I feel like, are not in a place where they're comfortable speaking their truth. Yeah. And they get into, all kind of issues down the road because who you are is who you are. Yeah. And
should guys get in poly that don't have enough money to?
Ooh.
I mean, because I always hear that the first thing that I always hear about when they talk about poly is if the guy don't have enough money to date multiple or to have multiple wives, like that ain't for you. That ain't the lifestyle for you.
So I'm cheap. I'm economical. I'm very economical. I do not believe in any of my partners having to pay for everything that we do. I really try the quality thing. Sometimes it's an argument, like I'm paying, whatever. I don't think that money is required. I think you need to be able to take care of yourself and then be able to cover your stuff, like what you want to do, right? There's a lot of free shit we can do out here. Mm-hmm. Not everyone feels that way. Yeah. There are a lot of people who are like, no, you paying for everything, right? Yeah. But I'm also very dominant in my relationships with women, so I tend to pay. It's very seldom, now, and that's an argument. Sometimes it's like a fight to who's going to pay first, right? Yeah. And so I appreciate that, but I feel like whoever asks for the date pays for the date. You should just plan. So if you're asking, then be economical when you ask. We went to Andy's and was on the beach like 3:00 in the morning just talking. Like they ain't really cost a lot of money, but it was good quality time. Yeah. We do stupid shit though. Like, well,
that's not stupid. That's
no.
Chill.
We went.
Tell it. Andre don't want you to tell it. Andre don't want you to tell it.
We're creative, right? Okay. And you can literally Google, unique dates in Dallas or cheap dates, and they have a list. Like Dallas Arboretum is doing the Twilight Thursdays, I think now, where you can be in the Arboretum for like 8 p.m. to like midnight, and you can
be where?
At Dallas Arboretum.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Right. So you can go walk amongst the flowers and take really good pictures and do a little picnic, and that's not really going to cost you any money.
Okay. That's the plus side, but yes, you need money.
Okay.
You can't be poly and think that, every date's going to be at McDonald's or at the Quick Trip getting hot dogs.
It depends what kind of girl you got. Because when we first started dating and we kept going to these restaurants, I said, babe, I'm a 2 for $20 girl. Like, we ain't got to keep doing this. And you were like, no, you're going to. I said, okay, well, I'm going to keep eating. You keep taking me there.
Okay, babe, what's up?
I do have another question. How was your
Do you want to just come over here, babe?
No, I don't. I'm sorry. How was your childhood? What did you see growing up as far as relationships with men and women? And also, religion. Because I know as an adult, or a lot of kids see religion and what that looks like to create their own adult relationships. So those are my 2 questions.
So the question was, growing up, what did you guys see as far as relationships wise, and does religion play a part in where you guys in the poly world?
So my parents have been married for 38 years.
Oh wow!
Yay, mommy and daddy.
Okay.
They are awesome people.
Yes, they are.
Yay. And they met in the Marine Corps, so I saw 2 Marines who worked together to make it happen. I don't really feel like there were gender roles in my house. I was a daddy's girl. My dad did my hair, and braided it, pig little tails or whatever. So I saw a lot of equality in my home. And then military child, I moved around a lot, so I think I saw other good, everyone lived together. I don't know. Like, we all lived on a military base. So I feel like I saw the good relationships. My grandparents were all married until one of them unfortunately passed away. So I think I saw very good, loving, foundational relationships. I was raised Christian, non-denominational, and I still identify as Christian non-denominational.
So. Okay.
My parents were young, 18 when they got married. They stayed together till I was like 16, and they had a loving relationship. They just, I guess, grew apart over time. Remained involved with both my parents. But raised Christian. Now I'm probably more Gnostic than anything.
What's Gnostic? What's that?
Or questioning. We don't know what it is. There's something out there, but we're not gonna.
That's kind of where I kind of identify with.
Yeah, they got labels for everything.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But good question, though.
If you don't mind me asking.
Do y'all want to come over here? How long have y'all been together?
This is such an interesting question. So, let's see.
Because y'all don't really have like a starting day, like, okay, it was this day.
Yeah, okay. So, we were like, I would say this is probably one of the most naturally growing. So I mentioned how you get a relationship, you want it to naturally, organically go into what it's going to be. I would have to say, and I say this a lot, is I think this is probably the purest, most kind of naturally shaped, organically shaped relationship I've ever been in. Because we were friends for a while, and I think we developed a really, really good friendship.
Adversaries, friends.
Oh yeah, we wasn't friends at first. I was like, oh, I don't like him. Like it was a mess. Then we became really good friends, and then I think I had like, I don't say disappeared, but like I wasn't responding to some stuff, and he like tried to dip off on me, and I was like, wait, where'd Andre go? He said, well, obviously you're busy, so we could try this another time. And I was like, oh no, I can't like not have him in my life. And so then we started dating. And I think we were dating for a couple months, and then finally it was like, oh no, we're together. And then we backdated it for like 2 months. We were like, it's March, but we gonna say like January. This is when we. So I don't know, like that was January 2018. January 2018.
Okay. What's the longest poly relationship y'all been in? How long have y'all been in? Well, like what's the longest you ever been in one? I know you said you have the lady that's in Denver, right?
That's been like 3 years.
3 years?
She was my first intro into poly.
Oh, okay.
Was meeting her. We met online and we just kind of connected. And she was
okay.
poly, and the more I asked her about what poly was, that's how I got into it. The more I was like, oh, okay. But so yeah, it's been 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, this is such an interesting question. So like outside of because when I was married, so I don't know. Like outside of that,
yeah.
This maybe, yeah. So outside of that would be this.
About 2 years then.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And it shouldn't be difficult, but for me it is. You're trying to calculate stuff.
Okay. Yo, this was dope, man. This is real dope. Tell them about the conference again. How do people get on the virtual conference, and when is it again?
It is November 6th
November
through the 8th.
6th through the 8th.
November
Okay.
6th through the 8th. It's Poly Dallas Millennium 2020. Open to Love is our theme, the virtual experience.
Okay.
So if you just go to Facebook and type in Poly Dallas Millennium, it'll come up. Instagram, same thing. And you can actually register right online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool beans,
Check
man.
it out. It is good information.
Yeah. I think this was dope, man, and I appreciate y'all for coming on and enlightening us, because I was so. I could tell you, like, my mind is open, but it's blown at the same time. Like I'm like, oh, okay, it's just about loving people or loving, people.
Yes.
That's really all it is
Good
about.
word.
Yeah, just loving
Yes,
people.
loving people.
Okay. And one last question, because I thought about this earlier. Sexual, right? Do you guys worry about like sexually transmitted diseases and all that?
You have to be aware. You have to get tested. You have to have, I won't say rules, but you have to have conversations about how things are going to be handled. Who are you sleeping with unprotected? Who are you sleeping with protected? When that changes, what rules, or not what rules, but what conversations takes place before and after that. So it's a very active, it plays a very active role and very active conversation, because I'm not just playing with my life.
Right.
You know, I'll be playing with her life or my other partner's lives. So you want to be very responsible with that, because as much as I don't want to hurt myself, I definitely don't want to hurt anyone that I'm with, or vice versa. I don't want her to be in danger in my life. So yeah, you get tested quite often. The full panel testing, and on a regular schedule. Even if I'm not active with anybody, or I'm just active with her, I still get tested. Just
okay.
because it's just something I'm in the habit of doing.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I have a schedule. So I get tested in March. A lot of times what people don't know is if you just go request an STD test, it's just a 5-panel. It's going to be your syphilis, it's going to be your gonorrhea and chlamydia, and then there's 2 types of HIVs. So if you just say, hey, I want an STD test, that's all you're getting. So in March is when I do my regular standard STD test. In June, I do a 10-panel. So your 10-panel, in addition to the 5-panel, is going to include your 3 hepatitis as well as HSV1 and HSV2. And HSV is your herpes, right? So that's your 10-panel. And then in September, I go back to my standard 5-panel. And then in December, I have my annual women's exam. And so I do my 10-panel again. But in addition to that, they're going to test you for bacterial vaginosis. They're going to check you for trick. What a lot of people don't know about trick is an actual parasite. So it has to be a live wet sample, because they have to see if the tail is wagging to know if it is a parasite, right? And so all those other STD tests you get done throughout the year are not going to check you for trick, and then also for HPV. And there's not a test for men for HPV, so women have to get that done.
Or trick. I mean, men men can carry things and not even know it.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
And if she gets something and I go get tested, they might not test positive for me, but I can still be a carrier. So it's really weird being a dude, and the stuff that we can get, the bacteria that we can carry that can have and have a very negative effect on her and her health. So
wow. Oh, okay.
that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, it sure is. Shit. Go get tested, goddamn.
Go get tested.
And ask for your 10 panel.
10
and then I
panel.
share my results with my partners. And so I know not all people do that, and I don't think you should necessarily be required to do it. If I'm sleeping with you, I hope I can trust that you'll tell me, hey, I got tested and it was negative or whatever. And I also hope that you'll tell me, hey, I got tested and I was positive for this. Can you please go get tested as well? I think that in society, unfortunately, we have a very negative view when it comes to STD testing. And I can honestly say when I was younger, I did too. I thought, oh my God, if you've got something, you're nasty, you're blah, blah, blah. But just like you get a cold, just like you get strep throat, just like you get, there's viruses you carry. Same thing with gonorrhea or chlamydia.
Especially herpes.
Yes, herpes. People are so negative about herpes, but the majority of people have it.
Really?
So I think it's important for us to be soft spaces, that our partners will come to us and feel comfortable sharing that information, and we're not going to make them feel bad or blast them on social media. But I also want my partners to feel confident. So when I get the little email or the little app updates and says what my test results are, I just screenshot it and send it over.
Yep. Carry it on my phone. I can screenshot it.
Really?
I'll randomly be like, I didn't even know it's time you got tested. Okay, it must be my time now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, man. This was dope, man. Thank y'all again for coming in, sharing with us, man. This is dope. This is the reason why that's why I do this podcast. For real. For this kind of information. For real. Yo, thank y'all again. I appreciate y'all. Yo, thank y'all for tapping in with us. This has been the Tap In Podcast. Holla.